Hello, my two-dimensional friends. It's Silent Signs from I Dream of Indie, and today we are taking a look at Flat Kingdom Papers Cut Edition. Flat Kingdom is a 2D puzzle platformer where you are playing as a knight called Flat. Flat is trying to fend off the evil of the 3D realm. There were, according to this game's lore, at least 6 crystals that were protecting the sanctity of the 2D world, which is then disrupted by Hex, who steals one of the jewels and does the predictable villain thing of kidnapping the princess. If the story sounds a little one-dimensional, well, you're wrong because it's two-dimensional. Anyway, you slice it, this paper-looking adventure is mainly focused on gameplay, and the way that you are going to fend off enemies in this game is by changing shape. Flat can transform himself into a circle, square, or triangle, and each of those different forms have different abilities. For example, the square has strength and you can crash through objects. The circle is super buoyant and can double jump, and the triangle is fast. Not only are Flat's abilities shape-based, but also his attacks. You get different shaped enemies as well, and you have to use the opposite form of Flat to attack the right kind of enemy. Essentially, think of it as a game of rock, paper, scissors. So if you are shaped like a triangle, you can kill an enemy that is a circle. If you are shaped like a circle, you can kill an enemy that is a square. This same basic principle is applied to the boss battles as well, and as you progress in the game, you gain new abilities for Flat for all of the different shapes. You do have a health bar to keep in mind, but you can collect hearts along the way, and there are a good amount of checkpoints, so you're never going to lose too much progress. I do credit these developers because it is a creative form of puzzle platforming. I did like the concept of changing shapes and kind of doing that rock, paper, scissors form of battle, which also didn't require too much thought. For the most part, you're just running into enemies with the correct shape, but the platforming in this title is not the best. It's one of those scenarios where even your double jump always feels a little bit too short, and it was just a little bit frustrating in that regard. It also felt like even if I didn't guess the correct shape I was supposed to be using for a particular enemy, I was able to kind of fumble through it by hitting the other buttons and changing to the other shapes. Eventually you would get there and without losing too many hit points either, so it wasn't particularly challenging in that regard. That said, I played on the normal difficulty setting. There is an easy and a hard, so if you're looking for a little more or a little less challenge, that is an option as well. Keeping to the two-dimensional theme, this game has the look of almost a construction paper cutout for the graphics, which is a really nice touch. I actually enjoyed the way this game looked. All of your stereotypical video game settings are present in the level design here. You get castles and caves and all sorts of kingdoms, and again, the enemies play into that shape theme, so you get all sorts of different shapes kind of melded into different types of enemies, which was really creative as well. As far as the sound design goes, you get a soundtrack from the legendary composer Manami Matsume, who worked for Capcom, and they contributed their talents to Mega Man as well as Shovel Knight. The soundtrack here is great. You get a really good variety of tracks that match the environments that you're going to be hearing them in. They're really well orchestrated. A lot of different types of instrumentation go into these, and overall it really sets a nice, happy tone to this game. The sound effects are also wild. There are all sorts of things going on, and for me, they kind of overtook the music at times. You have arrows that are hitting platforms that sounded like the game was broken. You have all sorts of creaks and cracks and weird groaning, and the way that the main villain Hex laughs is deeply disturbing, and I'm pretty sure it haunted my nightmares that day. I can't say it's bad because it definitely adds something to the game, but it is really out there. As a whole, Flat Kingdom is a neat concept wrapped up in not the best platforming. I do think that fell a little flat for me, pun fully intended. I do think they really nailed the presentation with the paper cutout looking graphics and the sound effects. I just think that the platforming could be tightened up a bit. I don't want to admit that I was getting a little bit bent out of shape trying to make some of these jumps, but unfortunately I was. So will you be learning your way around this one? Let me know in the comments down below. Before I go, I just want to thank our indie warriors, Bill T, Christian Cruz, Kevalo, Adriana Amato, CJR, PSC, Julian Colbus, Jesse, Raylin, Marky Mint, Dave Harp, Peekaboo, Lex Noyle, Carmen Red, King of the Hat, Blue Francis 14, and our indie legends, Jen Rose, Larkison, Mitchell Hull, Eric, Peach, Skepticism, C. Coyle, Nathan Moore, Chris Jackson, and MRW. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't already, don't forget you can subscribe down below so you don't miss any reviews or gameplay impressions. And check out the description box if you'd like to see how to become an indie warrior yourself. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.